Good evening, everyone. We're gonna engage in some mantra meditation. This is called Kirtan. So this is a magical mantra that cleanses the heart of any unwanted qualities like greed, lust, envy. I mean, if we didn't have those things, how awesome would life be? And it actually replaces them with all good qualities like love, compassion, connectedness. If you chant this mantra regularly, you will start to notice amazing difference happen in your life, right?
Yes.
Yep. And the mantra can guide you in your life as well to show you what your purpose is, answers to life's questions. It's really amazing. You gotta experience it for yourself. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So tonight we have our beloved community member and friend speaking for us. His name is Hari Bhakta. If you haven't met him, he's like one of the coolest, most humble, giving, amazing guy. So you have to get to know him if you haven't gotten a chance. And he is actually the founder of Mantra House, and he also runs the USC Music Meditation Club with us, and always doing so many things behind the scenes. There was even a time where he ran Mantra House by himself, and he was like cooking, washing dishes, and running the program. It was crazy, and like I remember he had like no sleep one time because like he was doing too much. And now it's really nice. We have a whole team. Like he really attracts really great people, and we love the community, and without him we wouldn't have this going on at all. So let's give a big round of applause for Hari Bhakta.
Thank you everyone for coming to Mantra House. We've actually been doing Mantra House for almost 2 years now, so we're like excited for what's to come. I think we see some people from Long Beach, from USC, so UCLA maybe. Yeah, super thankful for you guys being here. So today here at Mantra House, I decided to title today's talk Misinformed in the Age of Information. And so, I don't know if you guys know, but I do a little bit of graphic design on the side. So for this week's talk, I designed this one right here, which I consider to be like a masterpiece. So basically you have a figure here that's absorbed in his tablet or his phone, and that light is just shining in front of him. And we're pretty much familiar with this light. Sometimes we go to sleep to it, we wake up to it. And so basically what this design sort of visualizes is that as one becomes absorbed in the screen, sometimes we can become deviated and we can become blinded by what's around us. So in the background here you have a beautiful scenery with stars. And so the man that's absorbed in that screen sort of becomes boxed in and blurred to the beauty of life in the background. So that's misinformed in the age of information. So as we move forward, we see most of us here are millennials, and we become familiar with this term of age of information or digital age, which is pretty much a very profound time in human history, because never in this modern time and like this sphere of life that we're currently in have we had so much access to so much information. Just click of a button, we go on our phone, we could look at pretty much anything. We can connect with anyone from different parts of the world. We could watch pretty much anything that your mind comes across. You could just type in and you could just dive into like a whole nother world. Just simply, whether it be on your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, whatever it is, we have access to. But we can begin to ask ourselves this question, like, what do we really know? As I open my phone sometimes, I have an iPhone, so I can easily slide to my left and I get a sort of like pop-ups with all these news networks that I never even signed up for. Most of the time I always look at it because it's there, you know. So I hardly do I ever click on them, but I always read them all, and it's always almost mind-numbing. Sometimes there's just very mundane subjects. Most of the time it's political. And as you can see here, that's normally what I see. Stock market, whatever it is, it's not really relevant to what I feel is relevant. And right now I'm 25 years old, so there's nothing there that really entices me to click on it. And then I go to the supermarket and I look to my left. Generally you see these at the mainstream supermarkets, like Smart and Final, Ralph's or whatever. And you look to your left and you see all these magazine articles that pretty much hurt your brain sometimes, because we're sort of brought up to just look at this and we become absorbed in somebody else's life. And there's nothing really much to explain further. You could just look at this and you could see that, damn, this is like dangerous territory, where if you begin to read this type of stuff, you can easily become absorbed and almost fanatic at this stuff. So yeah, this is the modern day. It's just filled with a lot of nonsensical information. And a lot of us, like, we get in our phones, and it happens to me a lot as well, and we begin to swipe away. Whatever it is, we're just continuously swiping. It's almost like we become absorbed into a trance where we sort of lose touch of our externalities and we just continue. And I've been there a lot, actually. And we look around sometimes when you sort of disconnect from that, and whether you're in the metro or you're at school or at the supermarket or wherever you are, you look at a lot of people who are absorbed in our phones. And we sort of lost a bit of that connection. And we kind of look like this sometimes, where our phones have pretty much influenced our lives. It's become sort of crucial in the modern world to have a phone, especially one that has access to the internet, has a camera phone. And I must admit that it's very useful at times. It's actually very useful for our day-to-day life, because whether we have a doubt, we can quickly search for it, we can use it for directions, we can buy stuff through it, we can do a lot of positive things through the phone. But we must also admit that it's also become a great distraction in like our day-to-day life. And so we can sit on our phones or in the computer for literally hours just looking at videos. I know sometimes I myself in the past have gone through social media binges or YouTube binges, where you just continuously watch YouTube video after YouTube video, or you just absorbed in the social media for hours to the point that the back of your neck hurts, or like your brain is like throbbing, and you pretty much have one of these where you just want to go out and just release all that screen stuff that you just stare at for countless of times. And so now we can begin to ask this question, which is the main discussion, the main topic of today. how is it that we're misinformed in this technological revolution that's supposed to inform us on everything? And through my experience, especially coming across this beautiful yoga knowledge, I generally feel that we become disconnected. Through my experience, I see that as male, these social media, these TV networks, this media that we see, it sort of creates a framework in our mind, and it sort of begins to sort of influence society in such a way that it creates these false ideals for both man and woman. For man, it might be that the ideal that's glorified in society and TV screens and movies is that the man becomes a ladies' man, that he's surrounded by women, and that he's like the player. And so we see this a lot in a lot of the movies, and we see this in social media. It's actively being ingrained into our brains. Also for women, there might be some sort of a huge influence that social media has and that TV and the networks do, that it sort of creates a framework that pretty much brainwashes us to become members of society that are continuously consuming things that satisfy that framework of life. And so we're misinformed in such a way that everything that we see in the TV, in the movies, in the social medias, the things that people talk about has nothing to do with the core essence of life, which according to these texts is spiritual knowledge, knowledge of the self, knowledge of the true essence of humanity, which pretty much permeates a nonsensical energy that goes about when we look at mundane television shows, when we're sort of lost in social media, when we're watching boring YouTube videos, whatever it is. We've been misinformed in that sense when you connect this stuff to the actuality of the human form of life in comparison to this ancient Vedic knowledge. So basically this next film that I'm about to show pretty much creates a consensus of what's happening in society in a very visualistic way that captures everyone's attention. So here it is. See if I can find the play button first. There we go. seen that video before?
No.
It's cool. Yeah, I just saw it like a week ago and I thought I definitely have to share this. It makes sense. And so, then one question that we could begin to ask ourselves is, why do we hunger for that thirst to seek something, to seek happiness, to seek pleasure? Why do we hunger for information, for likes on social media, and even for attention? It's because, according to this ancient knowledge, we're all looking for pleasure. We're actually all pleasure-seeking individuals. And so our true identity, which is actually seeking pleasure, goes beyond the pleasure of this world. Our bodies our human bodies, they're sort of confined to that eagerness to seek the highest pleasure. And so, therefore, that energy is utilized in such a way that every time that we seek pleasure, it sort of creates a negative effect in our society. We want wealth, and for the most part, we consume the fuel that the earth provides, and we turn it into gasoline for our cars. We utilize it to get to work, to go to school, to do so many different things, but at the same time it's creating a negative effect in the environment. And so it's said that the structure of this world of matter, it's not really meant to be enjoyed. It's actually meant for us to utilize that propensity to enjoy and to seek pleasure and infuse it to seeking love, which comes from the higher dimension, which exceeds the limit of time and space when it comes to not only relationship with others, but also relationships with the whole world and everything around us. And so this propensity to seek love allows us to get a slight experience of our true identity, which goes beyond bodily identification. And so this can connect us to actually beginning to seek genuine information that is relevant to that eagerness to connect. And so this is where this ancient Vedic knowledge comes in. The word Veda literally means knowledge. And so for those genuine seekers that want to connect to that higher state of information, they have access to them right here at Mantra House. And so one thing that is actually very important when it comes to seeking information is that this ancient Vedic knowledge provides 3 different ways as to how one can have access to genuine information. Because we might begin to ask ourselves these questions like, how do I come across this? Perhaps even before Mantra House, we were seeking something beyond, something that can not only help us, but help humanity. And so this ancient Vedic knowledge divides these 3 different aspects of acquiring information into 3. One of them is Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Shabda. Pratyaksha means direct evidence. It means something that the senses can perceive, such as the sun. With our eyes, sometimes it becomes even difficult to look at the sun. Like we look at the sun and we could stare at it for so long. Actually, one of my friends one time started telling me, have you guys heard about sun gazing? Yeah. Some of you? Yeah, so I didn't know that you're able to stare at the sun when it's at the cusp of the rising and the setting. So one time when I was traveling in New Zealand, I felt like, damn, I'm like in a different part of the world right now. But on that specific day, I woke up with a headache. So I was thinking, alright, let me stare at the sun for some time and try to get some energy so that this headache can go away. So I was trying to experiment. And so it was 9 a.m. and I come out and I'm thinking, alright, this is a nice environment. There's no chemtrails in the sky or anything. So let me just look at the sun for a second. And at first it was a bit difficult. But as you begin to stare at the sun, you begin to see this perfect disc, like this perfect circle. Have you guys ever seen that before?
Yeah.
And so you begin to see it, and I just became absorbed in that sun. It was about a minute went by, 2 minutes, and I was thinking, all right, 9 minutes, 9 is my favorite number, so let me just stare at it for 9 minutes straight. So keep in mind that I didn't know that you're supposed to look at the sun while it's rising or setting. So I look away and immediately I see like this perfect circle blinding me right at the center of my vision. So I'm thinking, alright, that's normal. That's probably, that's gonna go away in like 10 minutes tops. Turns out I couldn't see from the center vision of my own perspective for like 3 weeks. So I would look at my friends' faces and I couldn't see their nose. And so I was thinking, man, like I'm never doing that again. And so this, an example where it shows that our senses are imperfect. So that's pratyaksha. So we can't really perceive knowledge through our senses. We actually have to go to higher authorities to actually see the sun as it is. For the most part, this is what NASA shows us. That the sun is spherical and it's a ball of fire, and there's so many layers to it. The other aspect of acquiring information is anumana, which means inductive knowledge, or theories, or hypothesis. Basically, you gather information, and through that information, which may be a little bit of information, you can come up with a theory. And so the Vedic knowledge explains that this type of information is not really perfect. It's not genuine because it's subject to change over time. The Vedic knowledge entails that Shabda Pramana, which Shabda means sound and Pramana means evidence. It's said that that's actual genuine information. And another name of it is it's called Shruti. And Shruti means that genuine knowledge has to be received through oral reception or through sound. Basically, this knowledge that we have here, like the Bhagavad Gita, was passed down from master to student through sound, through words. So once a master who's received it from his master passes it on to the student applies that knowledge, and he himself becomes a master and repeats it exactly as it was repeated to him to his students. It's called the chain of knowledge. And that's why the Vedas explain that goes beyond the sense of ingenuine knowledge that can be changed over time. So it's directly perceived to be genuine knowledge. And according to the Vedas, genuine knowledge means that which transcends the body, that which connects us to the true self, to the Atma. So in one of our ancient texts called Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, because human life is a combination of matter and spirit soul, the whole process of Vedic knowledge is directed at liberating the spirit soul from the contamination of matter. So in these Vedas, they're telling us that we must utilize matter in order to uncover the hidden essence of spirit. So it's not saying that, alright, everything's spiritual, so let me reject everything that I see in the world. Let me drop out of school and let me just go to the mountains and meditate. That's not how it works, especially in this age. It's said that we must utilize whatever we have in our surroundings, and we must utilize to transcend the body. So we're not condemning technology, we can use technology as we have here, and we can utilize it to transcend, to obtain information that actually benefits the self. And that's the beauty of this knowledge, which keep in mind that this isn't propagated in the schools, at work, and sometimes in social medias it might be, but in TV networks, nothing. You turn on the news and all you hear is nonsense pretty much. Political systems, so much corruption that happens about that pretty much deviates us from this beautiful knowledge. And so where do we get this knowledge? I myself have been keeping this book collection for some time, and I treasure my bookshelf there. I have a lot of genuine respect and adoration for it. And so, due to the influence of Mantra House and reading these books, I found like so much happiness simply by taking the time out of my day. I'm striving to at least read 2 hours a day to be able to fully absorb myself in this genuine information that connects me to something that's beyond myself. And it's very therapeutic actually. You don't even have to spend that much. One book can be $20, and you could find your own therapy session simply by reading about the essence of the universe and the self, and ultimately the spiritual dimension. And so a lot of you might be asking, like, where can I get these books? And you're definitely in the right place. Here at Mantra House, it's considered to be like a wake-up center for those beings that are eager to come and sort of wake up from the slumber that society portrays. And so we have books like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, so many amazing masterpieces that pretty much awaken the self to genuine information. And like I said before, it doesn't mean that we reject technology. We can utilize this technology and create beautiful things for the world around us. And like I was telling you guys before, I designed the flyer, so I gotta explain it once again. So basically we had the man that was absorbed in his tablet or the phone, and that light immersed him and sort of blocked him from the beauty of life that's behind him. That's why you have a gray square that's blocking the beauty of the stars. But as we begin to uncover and try to connect to this genuine knowledge, we can perceive the beauty that surrounds us. And we, here at Mantra House, we do it not only through reading books, but we also do chanting of this mantra that you have here. And the way we connect to this genuine information is that we read the books, and it sort of influences us, and it sort of teaches us as to how this sonic vibration, this sound vibration, awakens the true genuine information of the self. And so therefore I find this to be the beauty as to how to awaken the human spirit from the slumbers of society. And so that pretty much concludes my presentation today. And so I want to thank everybody for coming, and thank you very much. And we want to welcome Abhijit, actually, who's been practicing Kirtan, musical mantra meditation, since he was born. So it's actually like a very special moment for him being here. And so we're super thankful. Everybody welcome Abhijit and Priyadarshini.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,